Where do I even begin with Daft Punk? These guys have been absolute game changers in the world of electronic music. Two French dudes show up playing electronic disco and funk in light-up robot helmets. Awesome, catchy, danceable, but with a great deal of depth and emotion too. They made electronic music accessible to a wider audience, and brought it to the forefront of popular culture. They've won multiple Grammys, collaborated with some of the biggest names in the industry, and have had a significant impact on the electronic music genre and the music industry as a whole. It's almost impossible to imagine the genre without them. So let's try. Here are the best electronic albums that are not by Daft Punk, or any of these other POP artists.
POP artists? What's that?
Perpetually over-publicized. We talk about them enough. And if you haven't heard of these artists, well, you can stop the video right here. Go listen to them. But if you're looking for something fresh from the 21st century, you've come to the right place. In Color by Jamie XX. In Color is the highly acclaimed debut from Jamie XX, the solo project of Jamie Smith from the UK band The XX. Released in 2015, the album is a masterful blend of house, UK garage, and electronic music that really captures the essence of 2010's electronic music. Marking a new direction for Jamie XX's career, In Color signaled his intention to pursue solo work outside of the XX. I mean, there's a reason that the band's most popular song is an instrumental. He combines minimalist and simplistic elements with rich and intricate production quality to create a unique and timeless album. The music on In Color is as vibrant and well-crafted as its artwork, and it solidifies Jamie XX's status as one of the most talented producers in the genre. Cross by Justice. Justice's debut record Cross was a landmark moment for French electro, the blending of electronic dance music with the energy of rock. Their music was a grittier and more aggressive take on the French house sound that Daft Punk made popular. You've probably heard their track DANCE at some point in time, and there are plenty of other tracks like Genesis and Phantom 2 that have become iconic in their own right. With their heavy use of synths, the French duo created a maximalist sound that's become a defining characteristic of their music, and cemented their place as one of the most important electronic music acts of the 21st century. Self-Titled by James Blake.
Your love, your love, your love. There's a limit to your care.
James Blake's self-titled debut album was and still is an incredibly unique mix of electronic music and R&B. He blends in these elements of dubstep and ambient pop with his own distinct style to create an ethereal and introspective sound. One of the more vocal-heavier albums on this list, Blake is found focusing on themes of love, heartbreak, and isolation. His use of autotune will remind you of folk artist Bon Iver, while his vocal manipulation is something closer to producer Burial. It's a pretty unique approach with some hauntingly beautiful soundscapes. Overall, James Blake's self-titled debut is a must-listen if you're interested in hearing a noteworthy record in the evolution of electronic and alternative R&B music. 2012 to 2017, Against All Logic. Against All Logic's album 2012 to 2017 marked a departure from the ambient and experimental sounds of Nicolas Jarre's previous work. Released under a different alias, the album is a mix of house stylings with an emphasis on sampling and rhythm. The album shows off Jarre's unique and expert use of samples, all of which are perfectly placed and paced to create a warm and playful sound. Released with little warning and no direct references to Jarre's name, it took many by surprise. Jarre's music had never been this dance floor ready, making it easily his most direct and accessible effort to date. There isn't anything groundbreaking about this record per se. It's just so well executed. With its brilliant use of sampling and almost effortless groove throughout, it's sure to become a cult classic, holding a place in the canon of great house music.
Number 6.
Geogaddi by Boards of Canada. If I wasn't keeping this list to 21st century releases, Boards of Canada's debut would probably sit right here. But after the success of Music Has the Right to Children, their follow-up album would take a significant shift in tone and style. The Scottish duo created a mysterious, haunting, and surreal experience that takes you on a journey through a world of darkness and paranoia. They recorded over 90 tracks for this record before settling on the 23 that fit the warm and mellow atmosphere they were going for. They also embedded hidden messages and images throughout the album, with nods to numerology, Satanism, and the occult. The album's length is even 66 minutes and 6 seconds. It may all just be a joke to mess with listeners, but Geogaddi is hailed as a masterpiece and a classic of the electronic genre.
Number 5.
Velocity Design Comfort by Sweet Trip. This is a record that didn't get much attention during its release, but over time, Velocity Design Comfort has become a cult classic that brilliantly fuses glitch pop, IDM, and shoegaze. Fans have likened the album to the shoegaze of My Bloody Valentine, even calling it Loveless 2.0, with the seamless integration of glitchy elements taking it to a whole new level. With time, their electronic shoegaze approach set Sweet Trip apart from their contemporaries like M83 and Manitoba. But where M83's sound was more polished and refined, Sweet Trip has a more raw and do-it-yourself feel. The album's charm lies in its ability to evoke a range of emotions as it transports you through a romanticized, glitchy world. Interestingly, the album's title and artwork were inspired by themes of advertising and consumerism, with the duo wanting the album to sound like flipping channels late at night and seeing and hearing all kinds of weird infomercials. Though the album has faced criticism for its electronic noodling and occasional harsh digital sounds, Velocity Design Comfort has carved out a lasting legacy, influencing a new generation of electronic and shoegaze artists.
Number 4.
Cosmogramma by Flying Lotus. Cosmogramma is the 2010 genre-defying masterpiece from visionary producer Flying Lotus. I was almost tempted to make number 4 a tie between Cosmogramma and his following album You're Dead, because both albums are just that great. But with Cosmogramma being Flying Lotus's most eclectic and experimental album, with its futuristic fusion of jazz, hip-hop, and electronic music, it takes the top spot in his impressive discography. The album brings you on a journey through a futuristic and surreal soundscape that feels like the soundtrack to a wild, cosmic adventure. The album also features guest appearances from a range of artists, including Tom York and Thundercat. The album's abstract and alien cover perfectly captures the music's mood and has become iconic in its own right. Flying Lotus, aka Steve Ellison, drew inspiration from the passing of his mother and aunt, incorporating their spirits into the album's cosmic journey. Also, fun fact, Ellison's great aunt was none other than the legendary jazz musician Alice Coltrane, which might explain the strong jazz influence throughout the album. In summary, Cosmogramma is a genre-defying work that cemented Flying Lotus's reputation as one of the most visionary and innovative producers of this generation.
Number 3.
Since I Left You by the Avalanches. I wish I loved myself as much as I love Since I Left You. The Avalanches' debut album was a landmark in the plunderphonic subgenre, utilizing over 3,500 vinyl samples to create a warm and playful record that blends elements of dance, hip-hop, and disco. They actually had to delay the album's release just to sort through and clear the number of samples on the record, which then also led to legal disputes with several artists and copyright holders, including Madonna. Since I Left You took the world by storm back in 2000, and it's ranked highly on a ton of all-time best album lists. If you're a fan of Jay Dilla, DJ Shadow, or Madlib, other artists who incorporate extensive sampling into their music, you'll love this. It also plays like a single track, seamlessly going from one track to the next for 60 minutes straight. And there are so many samples and layers going on here, it makes for an album that rewards repeat listens, headphone listening, speaker listening, in the car. It's always a different experience every time. It's a must listen for those with ears, and it stands as a testament to the power of creative sampling and innovative production.
Number 2.
Oil of Every Pearl's on Insides by SOPHIE. No one does wall-rattling bangers better than SOPHIE. Oil of Every Pearl's on Insides is the debut record of Scottish producer SOPHIE, who was unfortunately taken from us far too soon. Released in 2018, the album combines a wide range of genres and styles, from bubblegum bass to glitch pop, ambient, and beyond. Songs like It's Okay to Cry, Ponyboy, and Immaterial all feature some emotionally charged lyrics, but are delivered in a mix of sounds that range from upbeat and danceable to moody and introspective. There's an art pop aesthetic throughout the record reminiscent of FKA Twigs and Bjork at moments, and we're currently seeing the album's legacy unfold as it continues to inspire and influence a new generation of musicians in the bubblegum bass and hyperpop subgenres. The album's title is also likely a play on how someone Scottish might say, "I love every person's insides," which is just kind of funny, but also works perfectly for an album that explores themes of identity and self-expression. With what little SOPHIE left us, her approach to electronic music cemented her status as one of the most important producers of this generation. Now, before I unveil the top pick, here are a few honorable mentions. Untrue by Burial. If you were ever a skeptic of dubstep, please refer to this record. Released in 2007, Untrue is a groundbreaking album in the world of electronic music. Created by the fairly anonymous UK producer known as Burial, the album remains one of the most influential releases in the dubstep and future garage genres. It became notable because of its unique sound, which blended ambient and atmospheric textures with two-step garage beats, R&B samples, and plenty of other noises to create an immersive and cold landscape. Its more introspective and emotional tone set a new standard for electronic music, inspiring a new wave of producers from James Blake to Jamie XX and Fred again. It also challenged listeners to reevaluate their ideas of what dubstep and electronic music could be. The majority of the record was made alone and in the dead of night, which makes complete sense when you listen to it. Burial spent countless hours combing through vinyl records and the internet to find the perfect samples, manipulating and pitch shifting everything from random YouTube videos to the sound effects of Metal Gear Solid games to Beyoncé's vocals in the title track. Even today, it remains a groundbreaking and timeless album that continues to inspire and influence musicians across the genre. Let me know which artists you think deserved a spot on the list. Should I uncover some more of the best electronic albums that aren't by Daft Punk? Liking this video lets me know. Oh, and if you've got time, here are some videos I've made about the famous French duo, Daft Punk.